Someone needs to lock me up. I lost my mind and I bought not one, not two, but 3 Chanel bags. And I'm being totally honest, I bought them due to the upcoming price increase that's coming because I'm really not sure if I'm going to be willing to spend the new prices from Chanel. And so yeah, I bought 3 bags and I'm having a lot of mixed feelings about it. So I wanted to open up a space where we could kind of just talk about it and, you know, openly, honestly, and respectfully have a dialogue about how we're all feeling about this price increase from Chanel. So although I've been a luxury handbag collector for quite some time, I didn't actually start buying Chanel until last year. And that's not because I didn't want to. Chanel and Hermes have been brands that I have revered for the longest time. And not just because they're like some it brand or arbitrary, expensive luxury designer brand. It's because I love and appreciate fashion, maybe in like a little bit of a weird way. Because I actually went to school for fashion design. So my love of fashion and luxury is like deep in my blood. Like I have loved and revered Chanel and Hermes for so long, and all luxury designers, because they're all famous for a reason. They all make beautiful, incredible products, but I also really love bags that are classic because they stand the test of time. They've got like a worldwide appeal, and there's a reason that people keep coming back for these bags like the ones from Chanel and Hermes. So although I always loved them, I never actually purchased them until I felt like I was in a really stable financial situation that, I had not just a bunch of money, not a bunch of money, sorry, hold up. What I mean by that is that I had what I deemed to be more than an adequate amount of money saved in both my checkings and my savings accounts, but also in my investment accounts. So I do invest on a regular basis. I believe it's 5 different investment accounts that I do use on a regular basis. One of them, not so much, but whatever, the reason doesn't matter. But so saving and investing is a big part of my life. And so for many years, I've been buying luxury bags for over 10 years. I bought, your Pradas, your Louis Vuittons, your Fendis, your Gucci's, things like that. Like those top tier brands, but not that echelon above, which is really where Chanel and Hermes lie. I didn't buy them because truthfully, I was not financially ready to do that. It wouldn't make sense for me to buy, a $6,000 bag if I only had like $6,000 in the bank. To me, that doesn't make sense. But I am not here to tell you how you should spend your money. I think that you all are adults, at least I think you're all adults. Also, like, if you're not an adult, you probably shouldn't be looking at buying designer bags unless you're like a baby, you're buying Chanel. I don't know, maybe like it's like Northwest or Stormy watching my video. If so, please comment below because I want to know if you're watching this video. But anyways, I think you're all adults. You all know how to spend your money, and it's not up to me to tell you that you should have X amount of money to buy a bag. But I felt like I needed to have X amount of money before I could buy, bags that were over $5,000. I'm rambling. Basically, I wanted to make sure that I had X amount of money before I bought these bags, and so I started buying them last year. And so I know that I haven't had a chance to do a luxury wish list with you all. But so basically, my luxury wish list is probably a lot different than a lot of the wish lists that you see on YouTube, because I feel like a lot of the wish lists that you see, someone's like, all right, this is my wish list for the year. And then in a few months, they update you on all the things they bought from the wish list. No, my wish list does not work like that. I have like a rolling average wish list. My wish list is comprised of items that I want today, that I'm going to want in a year from now, and I'll probably want in like 3 to 5 years from now. I try to invest in more like classic items or classic items with a twist, but something that will endure the test of time. And I'll link a video that talks a little bit about that in more detail. That's just my style. There's nothing wrong with trends. I just, I don't have enough money to buy trendy it bags every season. So my things need to last me for a long time. So I know I haven't had a chance to do my luxury wish list, but if I had done one before today, what you would have seen is that there are a number of small and mini Chanel classic flaps that I want, and also a small cocoa handle. So one day I will do that video and I will share it with you all. So hearing about the price increase, I was like, oh my goodness, a small classic flap is now gonna be over $7,000, and with tax, it's gonna be closer to $8,000. And is that a price that I am willing to pay? Because I talked about this a little bit in my price increase video, but obviously a brand, really is welcome to price as they wish. Now, if they want to have a successful business, they should find a way to make sure that supply and demand are met in the way that they want it to be. So they don't want to price the items too high that no one buys them. And when you price them too low and people value them at a higher amount, that's when you run into a scarcity issue and there's not enough product to go around. Now, that might be because they cannot physically make more product, or it might be because they don't want to. Maybe that scarcity is something they want in order to make their brands more desirable, more aspirational. You can kind of get where I'm going with this. Hermes and Chanel, I think, are both kind of working on that business model. I will say there's one difference between Chanel and Hermes though. Chanel, as we all know, does create factory-produced bags. They are made by machines, not by people. And although your bags say made in France, made in Italy, they're actually not. Just so you know, your Chanel bags are made in the exact same factories as Michael Kors bags, Coach bags, Prada bags, Saint Laurent bags. Every single bag that is machine made uses the same factories. The factories are predominantly like overseas in Asia, but they do have factories all over the world. And those factories basically like rent out their equipment for X amount of time, and they work with the designers of X brand. They work on prototyping the items, they review with the designers and product development, they get the feedback to get the prototype where they want it, and then they run that line. So they'll create 10,000, classic flaps or whatever. The reason that your Chanel bags and other bags say made in Italy, made in France, is because that is based on where the bag was finished. So the bags are sewn about 90% in these factories, and then they are shipped over to France, Italy, Spain, wherever the brand wants them to be made in. And they might, finish off by adding some buttons or some hardware or whatever it is, maybe sew in the lining of it. So that way they can then legally say that the bag was made in Italy because that's where the bag was finished. So that's a little tip for you from like the design and product development world. But so with that in mind, Chanel can very easily ramp up production if they want to. They just have to get the capacity in the factory or on the production line in order to increase their production of, say, classic flaps. But for whatever reason, they are choosing not to. Now, Hermes is different. Hermes cannot just ramp up production the way that Chanel can because Hermes bags are handmade. And so there are only so many artisans that are trained in order to make a Birkin, which we know takes one artisan about 40 hours or 1 week to make one bag. In order for a person, an artisan, to be allowed to make Hermes Birkins, I've heard reports that they train for 2, 3, 5 years before they are allowed to make bags. So if you think about Hermes demand 5 years ago, 7, 10 years ago, and what it is today, I don't think that there's any way that Hermes could have realistically predicted the growth of social media, which I think we can all agree has contributed to the growth and the demand of designer luxury goods. So now they're not able to keep up with production. I have no doubt that Hermes likes the scarcity and wants to keep a degree of scarcities going forward. But Hermes is also a business and they want to make money. So I guarantee you that they are training more artisans as we speak, but they're just not going to be ready like in the next few months. It's going to be in the next few years that they are going to be able to increase production. So while Hermes cannot just like flip on a switch and produce more bags, Chanel can, and they're choosing not to. And so I think that Chanel, and again, this is just my opinion, just my speculation, but I do think that Chanel has basically decided we want to be in that top tier echelon. We want to be right next to Hermes, so we are going to increase prices. You can see that Chanel has very aggressively increased prices over the past few years, having multiple price increases in a given year. But the problem, I think, with Chanel doing that so aggressively instead of spacing it out over time is that for you and I, the consumer, the value of a bag is determined based on what we think the bag is worth. And there are a lot of different signals and indicators that help you and I decide what for us is the value of something. And one of them is the MSRP, like the current selling price, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, which Chanel doesn't sell in third-party outlets, so they're the only people that sell their own bags legally. So for us, the price of a Chanel mini flat, small classic flat, medium, jumbo, whatever, it's hard for us to shake in our mind that a year ago or 2 years ago it cost this amount and now it's like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 more than that. Because 1 or 2 years is not that much time for us to readjust what we believe the new price of Chanel should be in our mind and our selection sets. So it's basically like Chanel has come out of nowhere being like, pay an obscene amount of money for these bags, do it and do it now. Because if you think about it, like an Hermes classic flap related to an Hermes Kelly, which one is worth more? Because they're about the same price now. A small Chanel classic flap is $7,000, it's gonna be close to $8,000 with tax. I believe an Hermes Kelly is right around, a mini Kelly is right around the same price, or a Constance. Those are both right around the same price. So which one is worth more? Which one is worth less? I think a lot of people might just like gut reaction say the Hermes ones are worth more, but why are they worth more? Well, they're worth more because they were always costing more. I mean, yeah, we can say it's because they're handmade, but like you don't go, I mean, most of us don't really go and buy handmade clothes. We buy machine-made clothes and we spend a lot of money on them. So does it really matter that the bag's handmade? Or is that just something we tell ourselves to help us justify the obscenely high price tag of Hermes? I think it might be that we're justifying that to ourselves. I read this book called, I think it's called like Everything is Effed, and I'll put a link to the book down below. And it was a really interesting book. If you read it, I will warn you, the last like 20 pages are very weird and it gets into like how robots are gonna take over the world, and it's not at all related to what majority of the book is about. Now, in the book, there's this metaphor where you and I think that, you know, if there are two sides of the brain, we know there's the left and right hand side of the brain, the logical, rational, you know, level-headed side of the brain is in the driver's seat, and that the emotional, creative, more feely side of the brain is in the passenger seat, and that the logical side is driving, and that the emotional side just like sometimes tries to like direct us, tell us where to go, tries to take the wheel, but ultimately the logical one is in the driver's seat. And this book was saying that's actually the opposite, that we decide with our emotions, we decide with our feelings, and then we use our logical brain to rationalize these decisions and to explain why we're doing something or why we feel a certain way. I think that analogy is really interesting related to this conversation, because going back to the crux of what we're talking about, the Chanel price increase and the fact that I just bought 3 bags out of nowhere, and I am not someone that has a long withstanding history with Chanel, but I just decided that I basically need to purchase all the bags that are on my wish list, or try and get as many of them as I can, get them now and get them in different colors, different materials, different sizes, so that way I'll basically be done with majority of my Chanel collection for the rest of my life. To me, that makes a lot of sense. If I'm able to buy those bags at like either retail, under retail, but all I know is that I'm not a person that wants to pay exorbitant amounts of money for a bag. So I'm not gonna spend like, you know, double the price on the resale market to get like a classic flap. I am not gonna do that. So hence why I bought all these bags. But then, you know, I was just having a lot of feelings about it. So I actually decided to call my dad and get his input. Now, those of you that know my dad know that he is so funny, so sweet, so caring, but also like he will call me out on my BS. So I was like, basically like, hey dad, am I insane for this decision that I made? Like, can we just like talk about it? And it's funny because I think my dad chose his words very carefully. I think he wanted to say, yes, you are nuts. He did not say that. He was like, listen, he's like, I totally get it. I feel like you should definitely get like at least one of the 3, right? Like, think about it. Do you really need 3? Yes, I understand that, you know, these are bags that are going to last you for the rest of your life. And these are bags that you were planning to buy, and you are someone that will care about these bags for the rest of your life. So like, I get all that. He was like, but you're kind of forgetting some things. So first things first, he brought up a really good point about how sometimes we buy things to treat ourselves. It might be because we've been going through something really awful and we want to like get that little serotonin boost from buying something fun for ourselves. Or maybe it's to commemorate a milestone, a big achievement, a big birthday, things like that. And there's something to be said for like having the experience of going to a store and picking out something that you've wanted forever to commemorate that event or to treat yourself. And he's like, you just kind of like robbed yourself of that because now you got all the bags and now you never get to go do that because you've like front loaded all your spending. And I thought that that was actually a really good point. But I had a counterpoint saying, okay, but Dad, I'll just have to look to other brands to treat myself because I'll probably either go up to Hermes or down to like Louis Vuitton and Prada because I can't justify spending like $8,000 on a classic flap. And he was like, think about a few years ago. Could you have imagined spending like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a bag? And he was right. The answer is no. I never thought that I was going to be in such a fortunate position that I am now to have a job that pays me well enough. Granted, I work hard for it. I earn every penny. That allows me to be able to buy these bags. I always thought I was going to live in like the like $1,000, $2,000 range. I never dreamed of owning, or I dreamed of, but I never thought realistically that I would be able to buy myself these Chanel bags that I have bought over the past year. So he was like, you're saying now you might not, you know, be able to spend or might not want to spend the money. He's like, but you don't actually know that. So at the end of the day, he's like, I think you should just like, you know, get one and get rid of the others and just like let it play out, right? So I just thought that those were some really interesting takes on, you know, my situation. I'm going to do a formal unboxing with the bags for you. In the meantime, I just wanted to go ahead and share this so that way, you know, we can open up a dialogue. Again, like I said, I want to keep it respectful. I want to keep it kind and courteous, but I just want to get everyone's thoughts on this whole Chanel price increase. Like, has it made anyone else go a little crazy, do things they wouldn't do, panic buy? Or have others of you just like sworn off Chanel forever? Because like I said, when I was talking to my dad and like treating yourselves, I was like, I mean, it's true. I love going to Chanel. Their essays are so nice. I did have one creepy one for a while, but like, thankfully I don't have to deal with him anymore. But I really enjoy the process. I love going there, being made to feel special. I mean, their customer service is amazing. It's the same at Hermes. I love shopping at Hermes. My Hermes essay is so friendly, kind. We chit chat for like an hour before we even get to shopping. And usually we have to like rush through the shopping, which sucks. But you know, that's what happens when you have to make an appointment during COVID times. And so I really enjoy the process of shopping. So it's not just losing out on the bags, but it's then like I wouldn't even go and like try on bags because I know I'm not buying any. And I don't know, the whole thing, I don't know, it's just kind of like thrown me for a loop. Also, my dad did say, he's like, you could sell some of the bags, you know, that you don't really wear. And I told him I'm actually thinking about selling a couple bags. And I want you all to know, I actually went and consigned some clothing and bags at The RealReal. And I did film it for you all because I wanted to show you what the process was like, you know, how the process was, what I thought about it. And I haven't posted it because I just wasn't sure if it's something that you all are interested in watching. So if you would like to learn about consigning clothes with The RealReal and see if that's something that you're interested in, please comment below. I really genuinely want to know, because otherwise I don't know if I'll post it, because I don't know if anyone cares. I don't know. It's like you could sell some bags too. So are any of you all thinking about selling your bags in order to facilitate your panic purchases? Let me know. Also, okay, I have to apologize. I'm very sweaty. It's very hot here. I don't know if you can see it, but I can definitely feel it. I can't wait to turn my fan back on once this is over. But anyways, so those are just my thoughts. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I really hope that you engage in this dialogue and share some of your feedback down below. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts, you know, what you have decided to do or not to do based on this price increase. And regardless, be on the lookout for 3 crazy Chanel bag unboxings in the near future. As soon as I'm able to film them properly and not be like sweating up a storm, I will get them out to you. My name is Lily. If you found this video helpful, engaging, insightful, please give it a like. If you don't agree with what I said, I mean, don't give it a thumbs down. That's just rude, but you can if you want to. But also be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can get all the latest content and 3 crazy upcoming Chanel unboxings delivered straight to you. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye everyone.